And nobody that's on YouTube anyway. Nail it. The Wade and Carter Show is paid program.
Oh,
What did you do wrong?
it's not working.
Sure it is.
The Wade and Carter Show is a paid programming, and KHMC assumes no responsibility for its content, and the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show.
Yeah.
White people are bad. Fauci's bad. Astros are good. All that and more coming up with today's Wade and Carter Show.
Pow, pow. Who would have thought that like 20 years ago? It would have been white people are good, Fauci's good, Astros are bad.
Yeah.
Hello, YouTube.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you,
How
sir.
are you today?
Very, very well. Thank
Good,
you.
Good.
Oh,
Sunshine is up.
by the way, it's Wednesday. What
It
a
is
bonus.
Wednesday.
You
I know.
look down, you did one day of work, and you look down, and bam, it's called a Wednesday. That's not a bad gig.
Not a bad gig
If
at all.
you had the option,
Except for the mosquito.
would you have, if you had the option, would you have every Friday off and work Monday through Thursday? Or would you have every Monday off and just work Tuesday through Friday?
Ooh. Let me mull it over while you
Think
do
about
this,
that.
and then we'll get to it.
The Wade and Carter weather is brought to you all week long by the great folks at Deerland Feed. For everything you need, there is Deerland Feed. I went in the other day and bought some mosquito spray. This is not like something you're going to go buy at Lowe's. This is something you buy for a farm application. This stuff makes 30 gallons of mosquito spray. And I literally put it in a pump-up sprayer, went around and sprayed my entire cul-de-sac. It's a great way to visit with your neighbors, to walk up. You spray your own bushes first so they know that you're not spraying Roundup. And go over and go, hey, and you just spray what I found is all these little grassy plants,
Yeah.
your vinca and all the flowering petunias and all that little stuff that's growing close to the ground. When you spray it, they just fly out of there, man. But then they die. Deerland Feed has what you need. Wade and Carter weather says 72 degrees and foggy in Victoria. I don't see the fog.
I didn't see any fog.
72, heading to a high today of 88. But this afternoon, starting at 1 and on the hour, 40, 60, 60, 50, 50, 40, 40, all the way till 7 p.m. Decent chance of some
50-50
showers.
chance.
Yeah, Massaminos, 50-50. There you go. So throw us your thoughts.
2 for 1 if you're playing blackjack, right?
Right. What would you do if given the magic wand? Would you rather have every Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, or be able to take every Monday off and just come into work on a Tuesday? And maybe other people are working on Monday while you're not there. Maybe other people are getting your week underway. I don't know if that helps you or hurts you. That hurts me. If I'm not there and other people are doing what I do, even though we have a tremendous staff, I end up in the dark and I have to spend time at least reading Cliff's notes about what happened while I was gone.
Yeah, I think I'd prefer the Monday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
I am by nobody's definition even close to a workaholic. But I find myself even on vacation checking emails 4 and 5 times a day.
Really?
Yeah, I still answer. That's the great thing about Dawn and I really enjoy going to Cabo San Lucas, and I can be at Sancho's watching the Astros play, sipping a frozen fruity drink, and I'm still I'm just like an hour earlier than Texas, and I can maybe 2, I don't remember, I think it's an hour, and I can still answer emails, in real time on my iPhone 12 from VCS, which is amazing if you think about it. It's amazing that I can be in another country, get an email, and send information back, and it's handled.
Isn't that though? Isn't it?
It's ridiculous. And by the way, nobody even knows that I'm gone.
No.
I mean, nobody even has to know I'm gone, which is not bad. It's not a bad deal.
Which is the way most people like it.
Yeah, they don't want to know that you're gone. They want to know that you want me on that wall. You need me on that wall. Yeah.
Why aren't you on that wall?
That's right, I am. I'm just on the outer perimeter wall in Cabo San Lucas, toiling around protecting the Sea of Cortez.
Oh, is that?
That's what I do.
When casting your fishing rod?
Me and Captain Morgan protecting the sea. Are we live?
No.
I don't understand
Did it again.
Now, I don't. Does anybody see us? If you see us on Facebook, would you please dial me at 575-9509? It is unbelievable to me that our video is not. If you see the video right now live, if you're watching us on Facebook, would you please call me at 361-575-9509?
No phone call.
Okay, I'll go.
All right. So
Do it again.
yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, our president was saying that white supremacy is the greatest terrorist threat
Don't even do that yet.
to this country.
Talk about Talk about the ball game last night.
We'll switch gears. Generals game. Generals home opener.
See if it pops up.
Good
now.
crowd yesterday. 10-6. Generals dropped to the game to the Brazos Valley Bombers. A good game. Took an early lead. Middle inning, saw the lead exchange hands a couple of times, and then Brazos Valley kind of pulled away late. But exciting game. Was a fun game to be at. Good crowd, good atmosphere. And expect more of the same this evening as the Generals wrap up a quick, short 2-game home stand to open up the 2021 Texas Collegiate League season. So hope to see everybody out there tonight as well as we get the YouTube or Facebook issues rectified.
It's
And I think they're there.
It's just crazy that we start the video
And it runs.
and it says it's running. It says it's live. The timer's going and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
You and me both.
It's very frustrating. I don't think it's a Magic 95 issue. By the way, you can always listen to us at Magic 95.9, which does a great job. It's still not there. You're not there. There's nothing wrong with the video, and it's definitely on the Wade and Carter page.
It's should be going, but
It
for
just
whatever
said it was
reason-
going. There you are.
There it
It's
is.
just the most frustrating thing on the planet. Nothing is different than what we showed just a moment ago.
No.
72 to 88 today. Good chance of rain this afternoon. We did discuss before the Facebook video picked up, if you had your druthers, would you rather have every Monday off or every Friday off?
I think I'm in the Monday camp. At one point, I might have been in the Friday camp.
Well, I think by Friday, here's the deal. So many people mail it in on Friday that you don't really get that much done on Friday anyway. Friday is like being semi-retired.
See, I would have been in the Friday camp and back in the college days when the weekends began on Thursday.
Mhm.
But now I kind of enjoyed this Monday off.
It was nice.
Did pause and thank those who died to protect our freedoms. I really thought a lot this past weekend about just how different this country would be if the Axis would have won World War II. And I haven't seen that Man in the Iron Castle or whatever that show is
Man in
called.
the High Castle.
High Castle.
Very good show.
But just-
very make you think.
But then I start going and looking at the issues we've got in this country. We're becoming, there's parts of this country that are becoming very anti-Semitic. We're going to give China a free pass for what is seemingly becoming more and more evident that they at least were complicit in trying to hide the origins of the coronavirus. On one end, it's not even, this is from bat stew, because it's not. It pretty much came out of the lab in the
Yeah.
Wuhan. For whatever reason, I've never understood why you've got to take a virus, trying to make it more deadly so you can learn about the virus. No, if you're jacking with the virus, you're not learning more about the virus. You're
Trying to weaponize it.
you're jacking with the virus.
But be aware, folks, and that when I say to you, China, Wuhan, National Institutes of Health, and Dr. Tony Fauci, you can put them all in a bag and shake them up, and they all come out with dirt on them. And
World Health Organization put them in there too.
$2.3 million. I read about this a year ago. In the middle of the pandemic, it was pointed out that some of the research being done was deemed not right and was exported out of the U.S. They didn't want it done. It'd be kind of like if you said, we're testing a antibiotic on baby seals, and America has outrage at some scientific level, and they say, no, you can't test on baby seals. That's not right.
Not in the U.S.
So we'll do it in
yeah,
China.
Yeah.
And then the National Institutes of Health sent 2.3 million over there. And guess who ran that program? Tony Fauci. This is not like a conjecture. This is the truth. And yes, we did invest in that venture, and it made sense to some of their studies, and it was a remote location and yada, yada, yada. That came out over a year ago. I read just yesterday that they have confirmed, so maybe at that time the 2.3 was not ideal, but they've confirmed now that the NIH sent $600,000 to that particular lab in the Wuhan.
And
the U.S. is dirty on this, folks. We are. The country's dirty on it at the governmental level. And I don't know to what end or for what purpose.
James Kerr says nobody wanted to believe the truth a year ago.
Right. But that was because Donald Trump was telling the truth. And when Donald Trump was telling the truth, he was a conspiracy buff.
It was branded a lie because it was Donald Trump, and the entire left and the media included was all orange man bad, Trump derangement syndrome.
Absolutely.
All you have to do is look at what President Biden has done since taking office and undoing everything that Donald Trump has done, and then ratcheting it up on some level in other ways for things that he's now attributing and blaming Donald Trump for.
Absolutely.
And Callie Frommy points out Anthony Fauci prepared to profit off a big book deal.
He's going to need it to pay his lawyers.
The World Health Organization, I believe, has added a seat for Assad, the terrorist who runs Syria, on the executive council. If the World Health Organization was doing their job as they claim to have been doing in China when the virus broke, then shouldn't they have known about the lab workers that got sick a whole month? And I'm not even buying it was November.
Yeah,
I'm thinking it was probably earlier than that. Because if the Chinese government tells you one thing, double it, and there's your truth.
Yep,
as we're finding out, or add a month to the timeline. Because remember, they told us that the coronavirus wasn't first found in China until the end of December. Well, then we backed that up a little bit, and oops, early December. Now they're saying there were lab workers sick in November. Yeah, back it up even further because spy satellites show that people were visiting hospitals in record numbers in the Wuhan back in September and October in that province. So here's my point with this. If the World Health Organization was actually diligent in doing their job, wouldn't they have known if there's supposed to be some oversight body with the lab? Wouldn't they have known that there were workers being sick from what was going on there? And instead of covering it up, should have been telling the world about some of this?
Yeah. You have to realize that putting Assad on the World Health Organization board,
I think that's where he's going,
is like putting Muammar Gaddafi on the Nobel Peace Prize board.
Well, they put him on the Human Rights Commission for the UN. So, I mean, basically the same thing.
Torrin Bales points out once again, the liberal media has buried the truth. And yes, I agree 100%. Chris Cox says Fauci needs to be behind bars along with the director of the CDC. It is uncanny how much akin to Joe Biden. Tony Fauci has taken both sides of every issue. I've heard him say, masks can do very little, but maybe give you some peace of mind. And then I've heard him say, it may be time to wear 2 masks.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy vacillates just like Joe Biden.
And we threw every piece of common sense that we've ever done with any other virus that we've ever encountered. Keep your distance. Stay home if you're sick. Wash your hands. Practice good hygiene. No, with this one, we went straight from absolutely nothing to shut it all down.
We're going to have a 2-week shutdown. That's going to stop the growth. I understand now, looking back, they were thinking that's going to keep us from overwhelming the hospitals. But the reality is, and they never had the guts to say it, the inevitable was we were all going to get it or get vaccinated or whatever. They were just buying time. That's fine. I mean, I wasn't upset with the way Donald Trump handled things. I think that Operation Warp Speed is one of the greatest success stories in the history of modern medicine. And yet, Donald Trump gets no credit for that. I think that the armed insurrection at the nation's capital was grossly overblown. And yet Donald Trump gets all the blame for that. It's called a Wednesday, folks. Today's your day to get into Veracruz. Go in and have a big old, you won't believe the size of the bowl of caldo.
The only blame that can be laid is upon yourself if you don't get there today.
Personal responsibility, folks. Practice personal responsibility. Get into Veracruz today.
There is no personal responsibility in this country. And when you are accountable for something, at least if you're a Democrat or Anthony Fauci, they make excuses for you and you're not held to account.
Whatever happened to Mario Cuomo and all the trouble he was in?
Mario is the writer.
Whatever
Godfather. Chris?
Someday I'll give you a call to do this thing.
Governor, Andrew Cuomo?
You're dead to me, Fredo. Whatever happened to that goofy, nipple-pierced governor of New York? The goofy one. The one that put sick people back into the rest homes. That
Nothing
guy.
yet. We'll get to that. The short answer, nothing yet.
There you go.
And Allen's
Wrecker Service. Something will happen. If you dial 578-6300, wherever your stranded vehicle is, Allen will come to your rescue.
Well, first I'll answer the phone. You won't get an automated tree phone that sends you a million different places. Do you need curbside assistance?
If you're in a ditch, press 1 now. If you're in imminent danger, press 2 now.
If you're on the side of the road, press 3.
Right?
No,
Allen's Wrecker Service, 578-6300. The VCS companies, Rocket, Oilfield Services, and the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer all reside on Kerr Boulevard. That's just inside the loop off Main Street. Go by and literally, you want surround sound, you want a home theater, you want music that follows you from room to room automatically, you want the clapper, you want to, and your lights
You want to
go
go
off.
old school to the 80s? You want to turn on your 80s tunes
Do it.
with just a clap of a hand?
Yo, Adrian, I did it. Reach out to the VCS companies.
Underrated technology from the 80s was the clapper.
Absolutely. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up.
That was Life Alert, wasn't it?
Same thing.
What was the other one that was good? It was big? The Life Hammer. Do you remember that one?
Is that for when you're in your car?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like made out of a heavy polyurethane or something,
It was
plastic.
it was some carbon metal thing, yeah. And it had a little knife on it, so you could cut your seatbelt if you're ever trapped underwater. And your seatbelt.
Dun, dun,
You couldn't
dun,
do
dun, 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 dun. Tom Cruise has 3 of them. Reach out to the VCS
We
companies.
call him Buddy. That became our buddy's nickname because he ended up getting pushed through a window in
He's
high
the
school.
one.
He became Life Hammer.
I think I spit it a little bit on that. That's funny. Chesney Furniture Company for 101 years. That's not funny. Get down. You want a recliner, best recliner?
Best
Sofas,
recliner is not
love
just a
seats,
name. They live up to it.
bedding, Tempur-Pedic bedding, all
Son-in-law
types
loves
of.
his. Accoutrement.
Reach out to Chesney Furniture. Bobby Leon and his family have been taking care of you and your family for 101 years. You
Decades,
just do better.
folks. 10 decades.
Chesney.
10 decades.
Chesney can love, make your house a home. And then today we're going to talk about Texas Coast Limo. It's wedding season.
575 limo.
Reach out to Bob Constantine. We would never do it on this show, but yesterday was Bob's birthday. Not that that matters because we don't do birthday wishes.
Except for one now.
Five
every May 25th.
Minnie Fettius, May 25th. Happy birthday, Minnie. It's been a week. Bob Constantine, 575 limo.
Michelle Hawkins, first one in this morning. Marvin Mickers, first one in this time. Now the video. Sorry.
She was probably in like top 5 in every video that we tried to do today.
Marvin Mickers, good morning. Justin Glass, Diane Tippett's in. Judge Posey, good morning. Patrick Strauss,
Morning, Judge.
producer extraordinaire. J. Mark Jameson, good morning. Bobby
Good morning.
Leister, I saw the Leisterometers holding steady to 1,004. Clint Ives, good morning. Richard King.
Hello, Commissioner Ives. Hope you're doing well, sir.
Bob Watley, Stephanie Miller, good morning. She was the one that messaged and said, hey, you're not on.
Thank you, Stephanie.
So
we
we
still have
appreciate that.
1,004 YouTube listeners. We appreciate that. There's Terry Murray from
Andy
Molly
Riga
Mortgage.
Jr. Terry Murray's probably still nursing the birthday hangover.
Call Terry now, 541-5454.
Michelle Hawkins says she's worried about us all. We appreciate the concern.
I
We were
appreciate
good.
that.
Just for whatever reason, it now won't. We push start and it won't start.
We just need to call it Wade and Carter TD, technical difficulties.
David Glass, good morning. Lisa Poole's in. Matt Boucher, good morning.
Better than ED.
Good question. We'll get to that one in a second, Stephanie. Kendra Douglas, Rena Scherer's in. Robin Moore Knipling, Chris Cox, Christina Wise, Jeff Finley, Chris
Hi, Jeff.
Conrad. Chris Conrad's probably wearing his Winnipeg Jets gear today.
JETS, Jets. They win.
They take on the Habs tonight in Montreal.
James Kerr.
James Kerr, Daniel White, Krista Stringham,
Danny White, old two-way guy, punted and played
and played
quarterback.
quarterback. Chris Ray Brissett,
Arizona State,
Stuart Martin,
even though he was Mormon.
Torrin Bales, John Davis, Chris Cox, Tom Price, H.R. Mallory,
What was
Lorena Bargenbrook. I think we're caught up. We're gonna
What was that
AJ
paragraph up there?
Louderbrook. I'm gonna get to that because Stephanie Miller asked, what would I give up on Monday or Friday? Which day would I give the coffee up on? None.
Oh, you couldn't do it.
I could actually. It's not the caffeine. I just enjoy the flavor and
It's not the
Kind of the
caffeine,
habit.
It's the Baileys that you like.
yeah, exactly. That's why I can drink a cup of coffee and go to bed right away.
I don't think it's a problem until it got to be where it's like 5 fingers Baileys. It's like, how much do you put in? Oh, about that much.
Well, I thought you were waving to me. No, you short poured me.
Give me a secretariat, 16 hands of Baileys. Matt Boucher.
That would be if you're 16 hands, it's got to be bourbon, right?
Matt would be so proud if he saw my yard. It's just so coming together. I hope y'all's yards are coming back. It's a
Kendra Douglas,
great
good
time
morning.
to plant some seasonal color, make Victoria prettier.
Hot, isn't it?
Nah, get out there and plant it.
Yeah.
Plant it.
Where was the? Is that the one you're talking? No, I don't know.
Although I planted a lantana the other day and it's trying to die.
Is it?
It's a weed. It's hard to kill lantana. I took it out of the little deal. It was thriving at 4 Seasons. Of course, everything looks like it's fake at 4 Seasons. The plants are so pretty. And I just took it out and put it in my pot. It's droopy.
Lorena Bargenbrook says, if a deer wanted to die, Allen's Record Service will come take you home.
Right? Not sure what that meant, but
She probably hit a deer.
did she hit one?
That's what I'm guessing.
Oh, if a deer wanted to die, if you hit a deer, I got it, Lorena.
Yeah.
This is a very simple show conducted by simple men. Good morning, Sheriff Louderback.
You can't speak in riddles.
Right. Don't talk in hyperbole,
Do not riddle us this early in the
Right.
morning.
Batman. I saw
Sheriff
that.
Louderback, good
You see
morning.
that t-shirt,
Jim
right?
Simpson's in.
Always be
Stephen
yourself unless you can be Batman, then be Batman. I saw one at the Hooks game that said, always be yourself unless you can be Bregman. Then be Bregman. Thought that was good. Hi, Jimmy
was a
Three
good one.
Cheese, Steve Kidder. Good morning, sir.
I'm curious to see how the Democrats and the left and Anthony Fauci reminds me of that villain in every action movie when
Dirk Dastardly.
everything is falling apart around him and he still won't give it up.
Right.
Is that's kind of where Fauci is right now. He denied to Rand Paul that there was no gain of function experimentation going on at the Wuhan lab. Denied it. We all know that since then, they were doing gain of function
Right.
experimentation at the Wuhan lab.
So now what's he going to say? But I wasn't funding that in my role at the National Institutes of Health. I'm curious how that's going to go down.
Ron Scruber.
Dawn TLAT is a subscriber subscriber to an app called Telegram. certainly conservative. I have to admit, she will send me things on the daily that you and I find on Twitter like 2 or 3 days later that end up in the local newspaper or any newspaper like a week later. Some of that stuff, maybe shame on me, I don't report on it until I've seen it somewhere with credibility. And maybe I'm saying, maybe shame on me. To me, even the Victoria Advocate gives me some credibility that they have vetted the story. I don't come in and bring you guys a bunch of conspiracy stuff.
You know, if
that
you
I
did a
haven't
little
seen.
internet sleuthing on the day you see those, you could probably
Right.
probably verify
On
whether
the
or not
dark, on the double down dark web.
they're legit.
But this article I read the other day just emphatically said Tony Fauci will not be around in 90 days. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to be dead. It doesn't mean he's going to go Epstein on you. It just means that he's going to be out of the picture in 90 days. Whether he'll retire, resign.
Well, he will, because he's going to get he's going to get $1 million book deal here, multi-million-dollar book deal.
Sure.
And he's going to walk.
Lisa Poole says she's on Telegram as well and enjoys it. Says that she and Dawn probably follow some of the same people. Dawn uploaded for me like half a dozen that I read, and some of the stuff is uncanny. Like, okay, like,
you need someone Dawn's age to work the technology for you.
Take this for what it's worth, but I can tell you that I watched it. They went all the way back to Ronald Reagan. Now, you folks tell me if you think this has any significance at all. Ash, you tell me. So they're placing the wreaths on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
It's a huge traditional military operation. The gentleman from the Marines in the dress blues comes out. He approaches the commander-in-chief, the president of the United States, who then, whether it be Reagan, Clinton, Bush, Obama, all the way up through Trump, every one of these gentlemen, this Marine, highly decorated Marine, walks over, stands in front of the president of the United States with the wreath in his hand. And the commander-in-chief puts his hand on the wreath and marches, and the Marine walks backwards and then hangs it on the easel.
Yeah.
And to me, it's very symbolic of the president is the person who sends people into battle. It's symbolic of the president taking responsibility, the office of the presidency taking responsibility for the death of these soldiers. It's very symbolic. It's very traditional. And I've seen the videos all the way back to Reagan. This year, a Marine walked up, put it on the easel, and I kid you not, turned to Joe Biden and went like this. Did like that. And Joe Biden walked up and put his hand on the wreath. He was not involved in the ceremony at all. And now those are facts. I saw the video. Now, the commentator said further proof that the United States military is currently in charge of our government and not Joe Biden. And here it is. So, okay.
Stretch.
It could be. I mean, it would not in this environment and with as much.
But certainly
TV
to me,
as I watch,
proof that Joe Biden's faculties are not there.
No doubt.
This guy is not fit mentally to serve as president.
But is Kaka Kamala?
No, but here's more of the deflection that the left does. Donald Trump was unfit for office, right? What was it, the 25th Amendment they were trying to get to?
Yeah.
That's what they were screaming at?
Because he was disrupting.
And I said it then. That was all a setup so they could desensitize the American people to that particular ploy.
Yeah. And then kick him out.
And then to kick Joe Biden out.
But see, the Republicans aren't calling for that yet. That's interesting to me. Yeah.
So
John Davis says fact.
Well,
Biden is not in charge.
No, it's apparent he's not. He goes to bed at 10 o'clock every morning. I mean, somebody else is running the show, and it's everybody that he's put in charge, and then the puppet stringer, the puppet masters behind the fact that are increasingly further and further leftist Marxists.
Correct.
And that's where we are.
And Michelle Hawkins points out, yeah, and Donald Trump was coming back on April 21st. I remember that as well.
Stephanie Miller, who's a Canadian, says he's a puppet on a string. He's told what to do and what to say. I mean,
Yep.
there are some folks outside of this country that get it. There's Simpy. Good morning to you.
If you have somebody in your life that doesn't get it and you need them to get it, maybe you need an official statement from the law offices of Stephen Kidder. Steve Kidder can help you, whether it be writing a cease and desist order, get somebody off your property, get somebody off your back. You need a temporary restraining order. You need to give a Stephen and
Even if it's
law
a
enforcement.
pre-letter to the cease and desist. If you don't stop, we will cease and desist you.
Right. Reach out to the law offices of Steve Kidder. He can help you stay out of court by having representation that helps you solve your problems. Stephen can be your intermediary between you and the problem. Reach out today. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull. We're going to get JP to call us and tell us about something you have. You know what it is. I don't remember. It's the thing. You know, the one thing.
One thing.
The thing on the list. Come on, man. You can do this. Reach out to JP. Get him to call. Come on. You want to arm wrestle? Come on. White Trash Services. 550-1826.
Brand new
Good job.
game of the Generals game last night, the White Trash Dash.
Oh, very
It'll
cool.
be fun.
I love the fact that the Nelson family and their partners, the Nelsons, are so Ozzie, Harriet, the kids, Ricky, Ricky's brother, Ricky's sister,
Ricky
BJ.
Bobby.
They're all involved. They give back. They have injected themselves into the fiber of this community, and that's awesome. And they can pick up all your trash, whether you need a dumpster or a roll-off or whatever you need. They can do
Weekly
it.
collection.
Absolutely.
They can handle all your trash collection needs. They'll help you have a trash-tastic day.
Since
550-1826.
1926. Since 1926. AdsonOver.com. I did see that kind of off maroon looking. It's kind of a maroon Aggie. Aggie, you got an Aggie graduate, $13,000.
Camaro, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My Aunt Betty says, hey, question for you. Who, I like that, WHO. Who do you think is in the basement telling Joe Biden what to do and say? It could
Finish the
be,
break. We'll
could
get
be China.
That's
China.
That's what I'm thinking.
Since 1926, AdsonOver.com.
Not since 1926, AdsonOver.com, but since 1926,
No.
Atzenhofer.
You weren't smart enough. You were an inner city Canadian kid, and you weren't smart enough. Joe Biden says you weren't smart enough to get on the internet.
Oh,
That
that's
doesn't
right.
mean it wasn't
That's right.
there.
I grew up in the inner city.
Complete 360. Right here on Red River, you have the health bar. I may go by there today and give me a strawberry and banana smoothie with a little shot of whey protein. It's a full meal replacement. It's like $6. And it's better than eating donuts and gravy. Going by there today. Get them on the north side.
What
Next
were
to
you?
Buffalo,
Would
next
that be
to
sausage
Buffalo Wild
gravy?
Wings.
Would that be red-eye gravy? I'm curious what kind of gravy
Red
you put
eye.
on a donut.
Jack Daniels gravy. Put a little flour in there and just bring it to a boil. Come on. You will really enjoy Complete 360 up on the north side. You can buy supplements. You can buy smoothies
Now
there.
I'm thinking a bourbon gravy might be a great
Might be good on a
kick to a
steak, right?
to a chicken fried steak. Yep.
Wow.
Chris Conrad says I grew up on the mean streets of Northwest Calgary.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Northwest suburban, all white Calgary.
Hey, we were right on the edge of the city when we moved into.
I mean, your idea of a minority in Canada was like somebody with a tan. Everybody was white.
Yeah,
That guy
every
got
summer.
too much sun.
That was it. Every summer.
Jim Simpson says, speaking of the Generals, 14 free bags, 12 walks, and 2 hit by a pitch. I could hit more than 2. 12 walks?
I don't know.
I mean, I realize it's the first game, but isn't it still 60 feet, 6 inches? I mean, how hard
And
can
it was
be?
only a 10-6 game.
Throw strikes. Don Posey says you need to have JP as a guest, and while there, perhaps he can solve your almost daily Facebook problems. I have a feeling if we worked for the judge, we might be on like double secret probation. For all we know, we're on double secret probation. We may come in one day and Judge Posey's here saying, I'm sorry, we're going to have you escorted out of the building.
Judge
Judge,
Godfrey, good morning.
I like to think we're worth the wait. We're worth the wait.
I think it has something to do with it. I think Facebook. We had good luck building a crowd for a couple of months, and now
Easily the top
Yeah.
talk show in the mornings in Victoria,
Absolutely.
Texas, between 7 and 8, between 7:05 and 8.
We're the only one.
Tell me,
Given those parameters, pretty narrow.
we're not
That's all right.
we're not humble. We're just aware of the minuscule.
Chris Conrad says apparently Rick Vaughn was pitching for the Generals and forgot his glasses.
Wow.
There was some of that last night.
Tell
But
us
it's
about
early.
who is pulling Joe Biden's strings.
Well, you mentioned it. It is China. He's
China.
beholden to the Chinese Communist Party. He's beholden to his good buddy, the leader of the Chinese Communist Party. The multi-millions of dollars they gave to Hunter.
Gee,
You don't think there's something else that went along with that money to Hunter Biden, like a promise that if Joe Biden ever crosses, more a threat, but it is a promise, that if Joe Biden ever goes against the Communist Chinese Party or the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, it can confuse everybody,
Chinese Communist Party.
that something would happen to Hunter, that something might happen to the rest of the Biden family, or at
I can
least
see it.
I mean, think about it. If the Chinese Communist Party can end up infiltrating our country to the point where elected officials are sleeping with spies, and we find this out, 10, 20 years after the fact?
Yeah.
You don't think that giving Hunter Biden a few $1 million and maybe a secret dissolving piece of paper to Joe or a tape that self-destructs in 5 seconds, that, hey, you cross us now that we got you where you are,
that stuff is real. I believe in espionage.
we will take your family down.
I think it's real. Nobody there.
Please do not call us with a birthday.
But feel free to call back. The SPCA would put them down, Stephanie Miller says.
Well, they might have to, because at the rate that Joe Biden's dogs are injuring him, one of the two is going to have to be put down.
Dawn
So-
gives me a hard time for every now and then having that old man skin. I did something one day. I bumped into Maggie jumped up and clipped me with a nail. It's no big deal. It was bleeding. Dawn just stared at it. She goes, "You're old." Thank you, honey.
I earlier when you were saying that Dawn has to install apps on your phone,
Careful.
if you were together in the 80s at your age now, because if you were together in the 80s, you'd be a pedophile.
Correct. That's
So
true.
at your age now, I had to
True.
clarify here, because you're not.
Right. Thank you. Well, thank
But
you.
if this
for
was
that,
the
too.
age, yeah, well, if this was the 80s, you would be, if you were the same age or the age difference. Taking you two now as a couple and transporting you back in time with a flux capacitor, everything to get you back to the 80s.
Right. I could have babysat.
Dawn would be programming your VCR for you.
Correct. To record.
To record
What was the
American
show?
Bandstand.
Tom Selleck. Magnum PI. I want to get that. And you can set it to come on. Remember now, you can set it to come on every Tuesday at 7.
You could, but you wouldn't know how. So
That
Dawn
way
would
you
have to
can-
do it for you.
You see how spoiled we are in this country now in our instant gratification world that you can just go on Netflix and just stream. A good Magnum PI episode's not but about 22 minutes. It's just because
Yeah.
there are like
No,
14 minutes of
Yeah, there was a lot of commercials in there.
Yeah.
28 minutes. Love Boat. John Davis says you. Oh, and sad note, speaking of Love Boat, Captain Stubing
He did
passed away yesterday.
Callie Frommy dates herself with a little Miami Vice. Yeah. Adam Gardner says he'd be shacking the cradle instead of rocking it.
James Kerr says he misses American Bandstand.
I think that
I did too, except for the Raider record. The Raider record was all the same.
Casey
Had a
Kasem,
great
wasn't
beat.
Casey
No, it was
Kasem.
Dick Clark.
Dick Clark may be making a comeback.
Every time they asked one of those preppy kids from California what they liked about that song that they introduced,
It's got a
to American
great
people,
beat.
great
You
beat, you
dance
dance
to
to
it.
it. That was it. That was the same thing.
It's got
Come
a
on,
great
really?
beat.
Because actually, you look back at those and you guys couldn't dance to anything.
Right.
They were playing.
Stairway to Heaven. It's got a great beat. You can dance to it for hours. We need to do another music only show because that was a huge hit.
It's just, you can't plan those things.
It just happened.
Kind of like our reminiscing down 80s TV today.
Mm.
Boy, how many of those shows would be not
See, but before
could
you
not
were
be
a
made.
TV guy,
would be watching Prunk?
you had Mod Squad, Columbo, Mannix, Barnaby Jones, Cannon. Every show was about a detective. Hawaii. My grandmother called it Hawaii 5-0.
Stephanie Miller says elf. Alien life form. Most people don't know what that stood for.
I did not know that.
Good show.
I'm not surprised you thought so. A-Team. That's nice. A-Team.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Rampart. Remember
Different Strokes. That was
what was it? Something 54. See the man. What was that show?
Squad-
Emergency. SWAT.
Squad 51. It wasn't 54.
Chips. You know what? They were all the same. You don't throw that script away. Just mark through that. Put Paunch where it says Dano, and just send that over to Chips. Get paid again.
Adam 12 was, Chips was basically a reboot of Adam 12
Yeah,
on motorcycles and the highway patrol rather than LAPD.
and with great hair. Just doing their hair,
Car 54. That's the one you were thinking of.
right? So somebody said something important there about.
Yeah, they're trying to get us onto something. Johnny Houghton.
Double on Houghton.
Now, Biden can take a page from Trudeau's playbook in question period. He used the old racism card when getting questioned on how the scientists were with connections to CCP and Wuhan were able to get security clearance of and access the Canadian Infectious Disease Lab in Winnipeg. Yeah, there were a lot of stories that some of that research was smuggled out of the lab in
$6
Winnipeg.
million man. Awesome. A man barely alive. We can make him better than he was.
Here's how sexist the 70s was. The bionic woman needed a dog to accomplish everything that the bionic man accomplished.
Right. Well, he was married to Farrah Fawcett.
But I think that and Rin Tin Tin, the reboot in the 70s of the movies, probably is the reason that German Shepherds became so popular.
Sure. What about Lassie? Beretta, Dice McCall. Rockford Files. Hey, James Garner was a cool cat.
Yeah, he was.
You got to like James Garner. Let's take a break and talk about terrorism. Don't be terrorized. Don't let your mortgage issues freak you out. Call Terry Murray, Model Mortgage, 541-5454. Terry Murray will help you walk through the process. So many things you can do. You can take cash out with your refi, keep the same payment, and redo your kitchen. Or you can take cash out and maybe even lower your payment. Or you can leave the cash there, keep your equity, and pay your house off 10 years earlier. Because the interest rates are so low right now, historically low, that now is the time to do it. Just trust me. Call her. Have a conversation.
541-5454.
Take some of the money and get on the waiting list to get a generator from Went Generators. Went Services, Went Solar Panels, Went Plumbing, Went Electrical. Started out as just an electric contractor, has evolved into so much more. Whole house services. Call Went for all your home needs. USA Concrete Coatings, 578-HOME.
Charlie Garcia and his gang will come out and transform any slab of concrete that you have in your house, on your property, attached to your house, next to your house, your neighbor's house, wherever you've got
I
it.
love the way you say transform. That's really good.
It's
I
really,
like
I've
it.
had to practice it. hard, 'cause it's not
578
one that just rolls
home.
off the tongue easily.
And then call Cheryl for your next party. 920-6803. Call Cheryl. That's her mobile number. You can catch her. 920-6803.
Check out the Gray Barn on Facebook. Much like Charlie
Yes.
Garcia's pictures do it justice
Oh.
and explain what they do.
Cheryl's awesome.
Yeah, the Gray Barn's Facebook page will explain what Cheryl can do. And because a picture tells, a picture says 1,000 words.
Absolutely.
We try and we can't get there.
So your president Joe Biden goes to Tulsa to commemorate something. I'm sorry, and I am sorry about this. I don't know much about the Tulsa massacre. I know it was certainly
Based on
racist.
Yeah, it was very racist. Let's
Okay,
be
so
honest.
did the
White
cops do
Tulsa,
this, or White Tulsa?
White
killed
Tulsa
black people?
went in and basically raided Black Wall Street and burned it all down and destroyed the black economy in Tulsa.
There you go. So terrible people doing terrible things, no matter their color. Un-American activities brought on in the name of racial
And it perceived
supremacy.
slight that a black man or teenager, I think, whistled or made a comment to a white
That's
woman, right?
what it was. She was walking down the street.
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, that seemed to be here's how bad this country was back then. The same accusations got young boys lynched and killed in Mississippi
Absolutely.
in the 50s.
But a different era, a time when there really was racial tension, not media created racial problems. Not
Absolutely. When
Not-
separate was equal, or when separate but equal was the mantra, but it really wasn't.
because there's no such thing as separate but equal, which I
Although
think
the government is trying to get us there again.
I think that was Brown versus the Board of Education. I can't be positive, but I think that's what it was. There is no such thing as separate but equal. There's inclusive. Although now at major universities, you have people of color trying to have their own separate graduation, but I digress.
Well, Pomona State College in California, just their student government just voted to defund any student organization that backs Israel.
Yeah, well,
Anti-Semitism is on the rise in the
see you,
country, folks.
Pomona. Here's the deal. I heard a guy the other day say, you know what? If you really want to get involved, if you really want to make people stop and think about the folly of the lunacy of where we're at in this country, walk into your school board meeting, walk into your city council meeting, and demand that anybody white on those councils and committees, that they should resign immediately and put a person of color up there, because it's just been too long. It's been going on too long.
Steve Kidder knows the story in Tulsa. White girl elevator operator, black kid trips into her. She screams, charges were later dropped against the kid. Yeah,
But
after the
damage
fact,
was
for
done.
nothing, the damage was done. They burned Tulsa. They destroyed the businesses, destroyed Tulsa, then ran the interstate through there to
So-
further desecrate
In that
the
context,
black community.
but from that came Drew Pearson from the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, one of the few schools without a plural at the end of their name.
Were they the Golden Hurricane back then too, or were they?
I don't know.
Did they change their name at some point? But anyway, we digress.
The issue is Joe Biden goes there, and everything happens in context, especially for Joe Biden.
I think it lacks context, to be
Well,
honest with
he
you.
goes there and says, in his apologetic tone, just blurts out that the greatest threat to America today is the terrorism wrought by white supremacists.
White supremacist terrorists.
And he goes on and says, it's not Al Qaeda, it's not this, it's not that, it's white supremacists. He seemed to believe that. He really seemed sincere as he said that in Tulsa. The
Because
greatest
he practiced that
terrorist
speech long enough to
threat.
finally believe the lie. You tell yourself a lie over and over again enough, you'll end up believing it, and that's what he did. Because make no mistake, this is deflection again from what's going to happen. And yes, I champion bringing our troops home. We can't leave a vacuum in Afghanistan. Johnny Houghton, I think, has said the exact same thing. I've kind of changed my thinking here. We need to leave special ops forces there, or should, because what's going to happen, and this is deflection, because Iran is rattling their saber. China is doing what they do. You could argue that the coronavirus was an act of terrorism, if not biological warfare, as we're starting to learn. And we will probably find out, make no mistake, in probably 20 or 30 years, when some things get declassified and enough time has passed and China overtakes the world, that we will find out that this was the start of it with China's biological warfare program that they've only been talking about.
It could be a shot
20-some
over
odd
our
years.
bow. They may be saying, look, we can affect your whole country.
Kind of right into the bow. It's not really over the bow.
Yeah,
when
we
you kill
can
half of
infect your whole
600,000 Americans related to the coronavirus. But this is more deflection by Biden on and from the actual things going on in this country. The actual threats to this country are external. They're trying to drum up internal forces to tear this country apart. They're
Right.
trying to separate us.
Giving credibility to the skinheads. Y'all are the ones. You're the big threat.
When the FBI's own data says there's probably less than 1% of the country are white supremacists.
But here's the difference.
When back in the 50s and 60s and before that, that was double-digit percentages of this country. That right there should tell you we've made progress. But no, that's not good enough. But Al-Qaeda, Iran, ISIS, what's going to happen in Afghanistan and the Middle East is going to be the actual threat to this country, but Joe Biden has to find some way to blame it on America because America is evil to the left.
Correct. I concur. But you know, the one difference is I don't believe that white America would ultimately stand even as disgusted as many of us are with the way things are going in our country, I don't believe that I would stand by and either literally support or de facto support anti-Semitism and white superiority garbage in the name of we've got to get our country back and we're going to blame these Jews and these blacks for it. That's just dumb.
No, if there was
It's
such a
dumb.
rally in Victoria, I'd be down there
We'd
against it.
squash it. Yeah, I think white America would squash that.
I think America would squash it. Those
I
that
hope
actually
so.
stand for what America stands for: equal opportunity for all, not equity of the outcome, equality of the input.
That's exactly
Those that
right.
stand for that would be against that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. What do you think, folks? Do you think that white America would just sit idly by and allow?
America, why separate it into white America? I think
Well-
America as a whole would get up and say, no, this is wrong.
Here's why: because like you have this BLM
Well,
garbage, and it's all Marxist, and it's all known to be Marxist, and Black America hasn't done much to squash it. And if white America does it, then you're deemed a racist. So I have to ask if the roles are reversed and some white group of idiots is doing something anti-Semitic, does anybody but white America stand up and say, no, we're not? Do the blacks care enough to take care of the Jews? I don't know. I know that
See, that's the point. That's a problem we have, and why we're having these discussions in 2021 that a decade ago we thought we were past.
I agree. See, Ricky King, I agree with you. He says, I'm with Ash. I think it would just be Americans, and let's stop using white, black, and colors. I don't disagree, but I'm asking what I think is a valid question.
But the Marxists will tell you you're the racist for not seeing color.
Of course you don't want to see color, Ricky, because you're white. You've got white privilege. You had it all handed to you because you're white. So, of course, you don't want to see color because color is the only thing that they've got. You're killing them.
In a country that elected a black president,
And it's
now a black vice president.
No, she's Southern Asian.
Oh, that's right. She was black and she was running for office.
Right. No, before she was a highly educated, multicultural female. Then she became a ghetto sister when she ran for vice president. She's like, yo, y'all, what's up? What's up, Detroit? Vote for me and Joe.
And now the left says she's okay. We've played that card as far as we can. Now you've got to go and embrace your other heritage.
Oh yeah, she'll be talking about. I was making a nice turkey soup the other night. She'll try to go Indian.
And Adam Dodgen's right. There has been so much damage done from racism.
No
in the
doubt.
past. No doubt about that. Nobody's claiming otherwise. I don't.
Right.
Well, I'm sure there are some that are. The white supremacists and the racists would say there's been no damage done. But for 99.5% of this country,
you can't make up for that with reverse racism.
And you can't make up for it with reparations either.
Yeah, I didn't do it.
But we moved along. I thought we had moved on. I thought we were getting to a point where this country was more jobs, unemployment across all socioeconomic groups, which again is a construct of the left by checking people boxes. And wages were rising for women, for minorities.
Yeah.
I mean, the left hates America so much they want to tear it down, and they're wanting to divide us.
True story.
Through the Marxists that are in power, and not necessarily elected, but de facto, for whatever strings they hold and why they hold them.
100%. We talk about don't come here from Guatemala and, come here and assimilate. Don't come here and drag us down. The left absolutely yearns for the day when all the vast resources of this country, whether it be our ability to farm for the world or produce energy for the world, when all of those resources can be in the hands of a few elite Democrats who then acknowledge that there's no reason to have a border because there's just as many Guatemalans here as there are in Guatemala.
And maybe I'm too idealistic, but all the hundreds of millions that the U.S. and other countries have given to impoverished nations, those countries should no longer be impoverished.
Oh, yeah.
But the money goes to the leaders.
The despots.
and their bank accounts. All you had to do was look at Saddam Hussein for proof. And there's more recent examples of it. Anybody who gets a gig at the UN.
Yeah.
But Saddam Hussein had billions
from the U.S.
in the bank account in the 90s when billions meant a lot of money.
Shah of Iran.
Trillions was still sort of an abstract concept because we hadn't gotten there before. He had billions. He had gold bars, all illegally taken from money that was sent for aid.
Fidel Castro took the money and ran. Chavez took the money and ran. What was the guy's name in Iran? Not the Ayatollah, but the bad guy.
Oh, the Shah?
No, the guy that we killed. That guy.
Al-Baghdadi.
No, the head bad guy, like the bad terrorist, the head Shaka Khan. That guy.
Osama bin Laden.
Yeah, that guy was once a CIA operative. He took the money and ran.
Steve Kidder says you can't tear down America based on racism if there's been progress. So now everything's seen as racism, no progress to justify tearing the country down.
Well, you and I had a sarcastic conversation yesterday, and it's like if you take the issue of I was joking with Ash because I'd gotten a notice that Ron DeSantis, is it Ron?
Governor of Florida?
Oh, Ronnie. Signed a deal in Florida on the first day. This is like LBGQT XYZ month. And he, which I don't understand the correlation here, but signed a petition protecting gender-based sports, men and women. And the story goes down. And so if you say, well, I'm for I don't want women discriminated against. I don't want my son, who identifies as a woman, to compete against women in athletics. Well, then you're a bigot, right? And if it just goes on and on and on. There's no way for you to defend yourself because people label you, and there's so many labels that you can't get away from them, and you can't get people to have a genuine dialogue about the issue. It just doesn't make sense. Great a player as Brittany Griner was at Baylor. She can't guard LeBron James. It's not an indictment of her ability as an athlete. It's just, I don't want LeBron James putting on a tutu and playing at women's college athletics. I just don't. I think that's craziness. And it's so loony that the fact that I have to even defend the logic is befuddling. Stephanie Miller says, people are offended by Christmas, but will take the holidays and bonuses without a problem, but Merry Christmas should be banned. It's the hypocrisy of the left, folks. The left is always most easily recognized by their hypocrisy.
Absolutely.
True statement. Folks, we're out of time.
We are.
That hour flew by with very little help from you people. We could have had a phone call or two. We'll work on that tomorrow. I got a question for you, Ash, as a part. Tomorrow's Thursday.
It is.
The brother man has had a short week.
He has.
Could this be the week that we trip him and he shows up with no content?
It might be.
What do we do with him if he shows up with no content?
Not much we can do.
Throw out your dead.
He's like the Godfather.
Throw out your dead. We'll be done today. We love you. We'll be back in tomorrow. Hey, call us. Tomorrow's a good day to call us.
Oh, wait, maybe.
Ashley's going to play some music. We love you. Be
Bye,
well.
folks.
Bye. Good morning. All right, I owe you one. I owe you one. I thought about the issue after I said DeSantis, and then I tried to gracefully get out as quick as I could. Because the issue is real, and someday it will rear its head. Maybe not at this level, but it could. So I got out without asking you a question.